which Ascension is just cycles, right? Like you'll go cycle, you get challenged, you pass the test, you ascend a little bit. If you fail, you just circle right back around. Janae?
Hello and welcome to day 6 of Awakening to Ascension. Today I will be your host, Janae Maki, and I have with me Alex, Marlene, and Melissa. And tonight's topic is synchronicities. Is it real or coincidence? And I feel like this one is going to be a goodie. So tune in and enjoy. Okay, Alex, what do you have to say?
Thank you for that, Janae. Synchronicities are so to define synchronicities, they are occurrences that seem coincidental, but it's actually the universe trying to get your attention. Like when you think about somebody and they call you right then, like that's a coincidence. Or when you start seeing repeated numbers or numbers that kind of just like jump out at you. Like for me, 11/14 is one that pops up because that's my birthday, so I'll see that one. And this is like the first step when you realize that you're awakening, right? Because like you'll start noticing different numbers like 111 over there, 333, and they keep, or if you like wake up in the middle of the night and you wake up at the exact same time and you're like, that's weird. I've woken up at 4:44 every morning for the past week. What's that all about? And then you start to realize that as you go through your day, you'll go through moments where like you'll notice a whole bunch. And for me, that's a sign that like I'm on my path. And it started out like with just numbers and it's gotten to the point where like I'm seeing my name on license plates, like wherever I go. So my name is Alex. So I'll see like AL, which I mean, don't call me Al, that drives me crazy. But or there'll be like an ALX or my initials on there. And I'm just like, okay, this is getting really personal. But I just
Mhm.
take that as a sign that like I'm on the right path because the more I see them, it's when I'm more aligned with my spiritual path. Janae?
So I just want to add as well, you see numbers and your name now more recently. So this has just happened in 2 days, the synchronicity. So yesterday I arrive at the home that I'm staying in, and there's a frog, which isn't really an animal I see very often. So I brush it off. I don't think anything of it. I'm like, oh, cute, look at him. So tonight, as I'm closing the door, there's a little frog sitting by the door. And as I open up my Instagram, there's a photo of somebody I went to school with, their daughter, and what is in her hand? What do you think? A frog. So for me, that is very clearly a synchronicity. And when you see these synchronicities that appear in your life, you can look them up if you are uncertain as to what they could mean. So a frog could mean a new beginning. It is a symbol of good luck. It's a symbol of transformation because they are moving from water to land. So you just look up what that specific thing means or the specific number that you see, and there's a meaning behind it, and that's the creator, God, universe trying to signal to you a message that they're trying to deliver. And it just means that you are in alignment and you're riding the wave. You're on the wave. Okay, Marlene?
So today, man, there's just no way that I could have the topic of synchronicity and coincidence as the topic tonight and not had the most synchronistic day ever. This morning, I got 3 different messages from 3 different people, or should I say 3 same messages, different wording, in different ways, saying exactly the same thing. I mean, it was mind-blowing. And on top of that all, I was wearing a gold chain with a dragonfly. At about 10:30, after the 3 synchronicities had happened, this chain of mine broke and the dragonfly fell off. And I looked everywhere for this dragonfly, turned the corner, and there was the dragonfly. And the dragonfly is messenger from the spirit world, transformation, self-realization, living in the moment, and seeing through illusions. I mean, I couldn't have scripted it better to actually understand what the message was, because they just kept it coming. So heaven's alive. The difference for me between synchronicity and coincidence, a while back, in exactly the same place, months apart, in fact, a year and a half, 2 years apart, a car breaks down in the same town, basically almost at the same place. What are the chances? It was not synchronistic, but absolutely coincidence. So yes, the messages that we get in synchronicity from the universe, man, it's just incredible what it does to deliver heartfelt. Melissa.
That was beautiful. Yeah, I have to say, when I started to be more curious, things started to show up for me, and especially it was the numbers, right? You started to see, patterns, things like that. But how I see synchronicities for myself are nudges, and I see them when I'm awake and when I'm not awake. So like in my dreams. And this is a topic that could be really broad for me, and I'm going to keep it really within a boundary. But I feel like synchronicities are showing self-love to yourself when you start seeing the numbers. I think it's really showing that compassion for yourself, for me anyways. And then also there's that timeline, right, where we can see something and set it into our higher timeline, which I have a really cool experience with that. And then also your dreams, right, directing us, which I just had an amazing one last night. Like, I wasn't invited to help somebody, but it was a dream of in their home with a big furnace. And I thought, I can fix it because I want to fix everything. And in my dream, I went and fixed it, and it just blew up. And these people weren't financially stable. And I had to take the responsibility, like, I broke it, I'm going to fix it. But when I woke up from that dream, it was actually telling me that I have to be invited. I can't always fix everybody's things. I have to have my boundaries. And it was so bizarre because when I woke up and start working through my day, like making breakfast, I couldn't remember my dream. And that's one thing I always want to try to do, is remember and recap, like, especially the one, coming from that point of view of from us coming to that next level from astral. And my husband walked in the door from the garage and was going to leave again. And my dream just popped in my brain. And I know there was that synchronicity with him and with me, that I cannot fix my husband, right? It is his experience, and he has to come and give me that invitation.
So I would like to recap, or not recap, but just express. So there's triple numbers are very common ones, and I want to run through them real quick because I have them memorized because I have a poster on the wall that has them all. So if you ever see if you ever see 111, that means trust your intuition at that moment.
Mhm.
You ever see 222, that means you're in the right place at the right time. You see 333, that means you have angelic support around you. Maybe you're thinking about getting a new job. You see 333, maybe that's a good idea. 444 is protection. I love seeing this one when I set out on a road trip. 555 is change is coming. So every time I see 555, like something about what's about to happen is going to be different than I expect. 666 is a controversial one because it's the number of the beast and people think it's all demonic, but it's actually releasing things that no longer serve to you and stepping into a higher version of yourself. 777 is something good is coming your way. So like, yeah, you see sevens, like expect something good to happen. 888 is everything is falling into place exactly as it should. I always find that one is like a confirmation. And then 999 is, oh wait, I had it backwards. 666, sorry, is reflect. I get those two mixed up. So 666 is reflect on things that no longer serve you. 999 is release, and it's that 999 usually symbolizes the end of a cycle. So if I'm seeing nines everywhere, then I'm like, okay, I'm about to step into a new process or like a new cycle, which Ascension is just cycles, right? Like you'll go cycle, you get challenged, you pass the test, you ascend a little bit. If you fail, you just circle right back around. Janae?
No, no, you finish your thought.
Oh, I was done.
Yeah,
That
were you
was
done?
it.
So I just wanted to say that when you see these synchronicities and you're really in the flow, and I said earlier, you're like riding the wave, you start actually realizing how much more often they occur. And it's it's like magic. I describe it as that because it really does feel like this magical moment, like a child. I've always said this one thing about a child getting in a car and not really understanding where they're going to be or where they're going. But there's that magic in them when they arrive. They're so excited. It's so off topic. But, anyways, I wanted to just say something that if you are starting this journey and if you are in this journey with us, it's also something that I practice is when I ask. So if I'd like for a synchronicity to show up in the sense of a message. So sometimes you're unsure about a decision or something that's going on in your life, and you ask universe or your guides or your ancestors to show you. So I'll give you an example. I was going through something and I was a little bit unsure. And I said, if I should do X, please show me sunflowers. And if I should do Y, please show me roses. And what happened was I landed up going to this guest house. And at the guest house, the owner of the guest house gave me a mug with roses on it. And I was like, oh, no, that's just a coincidence. Can't be. Then I was at Marlene, and she came home from having a coffee with a friend, and the friend had folded the napkin into the shape of a rose, and she gave it to me. And the second time it happened, I was like, okay, no sunflowers yet, just roses. And then back at the guest house, I was put in a bedroom with a mosquito net over the bed. And lo and behold, the fabric was roses. And then I stayed in another guest house 2 days after that, and the name in the guest house had rose in it. And after I think so many times of the roses, I was like, okay, thank you so much, because that is very much confirmation with which direction I need to go in. So if you want help in gaining clarity, then it's also a really good idea to ask specifically for something to show, and they will show you.
Yeah, and I think that's so beautiful how you explained it, because sometimes we second guess things and we think, oh, that's just a fluke or that's really crazy, but it is really magical when you like really ingest it and look at it that way. Because I was to bring Rice Krispie treats to an event that I committed to a week before. I did not write it on my calendar. You get to the age where I'm at and you start to forget things. And the day before the event, I went to the grocery store, and not even the intentions to buy the ingredients to bring this dessert. So I went in and got the few things that I needed, and I thought, oh, I'm going to go to it came to me, go to Starbucks. So I went to Starbucks, and there was Rice Krispie treats on the counter. And I said, oh, are those for sale? Because I didn't think I had time to even make the Rice Krispie treats for my event, because that's what I was going to bring. And she's like, no, they're only on the counter because they're expired. And I said, well, is there any in the back? Because I need about 10 or 15 of them. And she's like, no, unfortunately not. So I said, oh, no problem. Looked at my clock. I ran and thank God they're not, they don't take long to make. So I went, got my Rice Krispies, made them for the event. And I sat there when everyone, got to the event, set them down. And I just said, thank you to my higher self, because I feel like going to Starbucks was the direction to see that synchronicity of that Rice Krispie bar, to remember that I had to bring them from that evening. And I feel like, and I accepted it as a way to, my future self, right? That we can play on these timelines that aren't linear, that we think they are. And I feel like that was my past self telling my future self, like, you will see a sign, and that sign wasn't Rice Krispie treat, it was Starbucks, to go to Starbucks. So it's so magical on how it works. But when you come from a clear mind and really ingest it, you know that you are everywhere. We're in this entanglement, right? That we just have to find our path, through it.
So I think that for me, synchronicity is when my heart has that feeling. You get a feeling when you know it's like a message. A coincidence is just something like, oh, okay, that's interesting. But there's not that feeling.
Right.
That for me is the actual nugget that I take away between the difference of the coincidence and that synchronicity.
Mhm.
Does this happen to you guys? So since my awakening, I have encountered a ton of synchronicities. Like so much so it gets like there are days when I don't see any, and that like starts to freak me out. I was because I think I see them every day. Every day I'll see. I mean, I'm constantly scanning, looking for like license plates or like people have tattoos. But like, is it really weird when you don't see a synchronicity in like a whole 24-hour period? Janae?
Yes, absolutely. I'm the same. So mine is so bad. I actually showed my mom the other day how insane it is. We parked the car, got out the car. On this side of the car was a license plate 999. On this side of the car was a license plate 00. As we looked up to the opposite side of the parking lot, there was a car that said 22. Then as we walked, there was a car that was 55. My son has these soccer cards, and at the back of the cards are numbers. And as I flipped the card, it was 555. But it literally happened in the span of in an hour where all these numbers were appearing. And I said to my mom, because she hadn't quite understood what it was, and I needed to explain it, and that was probably the best way to explain it. But you're not the only one, because there are days where I don't see them. And then I feel a little bit sad, and I'm like, okay, well, why am I not okay, it's okay. But there's days where they just show up insanely. Melissa, what do you?
Yeah. And sometimes we don't even really connect the dots. Like today I weighed myself and I don't care. I was 144.4, and there's those three fours, right? And I was like, oh, okay, I just went through my day. And then I went on TikTok, and there's someone that I follow, and he was making a joke because he had 44,000 followers, but he was joking that, hey, you guys, I was at 44.4. You know what I mean? So in just within a grasp of 2 hours, there's that 444, right? And his messages, it made me really relook at how he presents himself in a way. And it, in my synchronicity day, it was seeing that how he is such a great communicator, meditating, getting the message that you have to have boundaries, and you have to really be, how we communicate is so important, because some people can get clarity from it and some people cannot. And I feel like I'm such a storyteller, and I know that's the thing I have to break through. But it's like that where I feel like going back to what my 444s are, right? I feel like there's that 360, right? It's that circle of life around that thought.
So you also mentioned 144. I mean that's my ideal weight myself. So like that's where I was trying to get. But 144 is also a powerful number too. A
Mhm.
lot of people will relate this to the 144,000 from the Book of Revelations as the people that are like enlightened, that are going to raise the vibration of the planet or bring light back to the world. And if you're seeing 144 all over the place, chances are you're one of the 144,000.
Souls,
And
yeah. And also the
yeah,
distance is 144,000 to the sun.
and it's also referred to
Or
as the
is it?
chosen ones.
Yeah. But I know there's like a distance with the 144 too. I can't remember. So, but you're right.
There is something with light as well, how there's like certain amount of photon or something that's 144 too. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was like if anyone knows that's watching, drop that in the comments. Also share ahead. I think we're at our time. But also if you like what you see, be sure to like, subscribe. If you have any synchronicities that you want to share that we didn't cover, drop those in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.